Hey, it's Tisha, the host of the Not Your Average Goat podcast, the show dedicated to celebrating all the shapes, sizes, and colors of diversity as well as adversity. If you're into dismantling stigma,
the accident happened. My libido didn't stop. So that myth of people with disabilities being asexual is the furthest thing from the truth.
leaning into vulnerability,
That word normal, that was a demon for me when it comes to my mental health. That word plagued me for over 10 years, and it nearly ended my life.
or defying societal norms.
And I know a lot of people, when they have their thoughts on suicide, they think it's weak. They think it's all these things, and they forget that, like, there's people on the other side. There's family members, there's daughters, there's sons, there's husbands, there's wives.
Then check us out at notyouraveragegoat.org or find us on your favorite podcast platform.
I'm Felicia,
And I'm Ian.
and we are the Paranormal Lovers.
Hello, paranormal dudes, dudettes, and dudays. Welcome back to another episode of the Paranormal Lovers.
Hey guys,
How you guys doing?
thanks for joining us for another week, episode 74.
Woo.
It's funny, we actually got a notification that we have published 75 episodes because we had the extra one with Total Conundrum was a regular episode. We had the extra one with Chrissy, and then I posted the MMIW, the free one from Patreon, the other day. So
Right.
75 uploads on Buzzsprout. Yay.
Awesome.
What'd you love about this week?
Wasn't much about this week. I kind of liked filling in for the boss yesterday because everything went like smoother than I thought it was going to be.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
was good.
I'm proud of you.
Everybody got done early and got out of there. And I don't know. At the end of the day, my guys were happy. So
Yeah.
that's all that counts.
I know you got home like half an hour early.
Mm-hmm.
Patty was in the shower and I was like putting up laundry and you were like, hey. And I was like, hey. I went out and looked and I was like, oh shit. It's not even 7:30 yet. What the hell?
Yeah. What'd you love about this week, baby?
Oh. About same as you, honestly.
Dig deep. Dig deep.
Dig deep. Today's a great day. It's our godson's birthday. He's
Yep.
turning 9.
It sure is.
The first out of our little, we have a very small village. It's exactly 2 families, 4 adults, 3 kids,
Yeah.
and like 4 grandparents. But yeah, he's turning 9 today, so he's the first one like getting ready to hit tween years.
Hope he has a good evening.
Yeah, I made his cake, so
Yeah.
we'll see how he likes it. And then our dog is no longer a puppy. She is officially 2 years old today. So
Star Butterfly.
If you guys haven't seen Star versus the Forces of Evil on Disney, especially if you have kids, go watch it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing. It's like one of our like favorite family shows. If Patty's like, I want to watch Star, we're like, yes, let's
Mhm.
watch that. All right, so
Meat.
script the sides.
Oh my God, Glossaric. It's got this little blue genie named Glossaric. He's like, he.
He likes to wear a robe and
It's really
nothing
weird.
else.
He is the glossary for a spell book.
He has 3 nipples,
So
3 boobs.
yeah, just go watch.
It's good. Or does
It's
he have
good.
like 7 boobs?
I don't know.
remember. Anyways. All right. So we have another cult this week.
Yay.
Yay. Warning. We're gonna have slight discussions. Nothing graphic in detail, but we will be discussing sexual, physical abuse as well as trafficking. I guess you could call it. Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
So I thought, for anybody that's listened long enough, you know that I try and find stories that correlate with whatever heritage month that it is. May was Asian American Pacific Islander month, and I thought that June was going to be Jewish Heritage Month. May is also Jewish Heritage Month. Whoops. So you're going to get some Jewish stories for June, and then July we'll hit the queer stories, hopefully, if I can find anything. But so I feel kind of awkward trying to find a Jewish cult.
Right.
Because like I'm not Jewish, and this is just my experience in my own life, but I've never had a problem with Jewish people because I've never met a Jewish person who pushes their faith on me
Right.
like other religions,
Sure.
you know. So this sect, it's a sect that I'm covering today, does not represent even a smidgen of a percentage of the population of 16 million Jewish people on this planet.
Right.
It is one far out there, ultra extreme orthodox Jewish.
Yeah.
It's small. They don't have many people, allegedly. They only have 200 to 300 members across the globe. So like they're not even as big as like the family of God.
Right.
Hang on. Sorry. And also I typed up my notes this morning, y'all. And when I got to the end of it, my thing that I typed my notes in decided to crash and I lost my notes. And then I went and laid down in bed because I didn't feel like dealing with it. So paper.
It's fun.
So paper.
Super fun.
Super fun. All right. So. Lev Tahor, and y'all, there's a lot of Hebrew and maybe Yiddish words in this. I don't know. I'm going to do my best to be respectful, say it the best I can. But again, I grew up in North Carolina. Sorry. Lev Tahor, meaning pure of heart in Hebrew, is an extremist Jewish sect. And when I say extreme, think of women and girls starting as young as age 3 having to cover everything except for their face. And in some places, they have to cover everything except for their eyes. Think of the most extreme Christian or Muslim church you could possibly think of.
Right.
And then replace the Bible and the Quran with the Torah.
Yeah.
Also, child marriages. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
This sect was formed by Shlomo Ezra Helbruns. Helbruns was born Ezra Shlomo Elburns. I'm sorry, y'all. To Finis and Yaakivil Elbruns, Kurdish Jews in Kiryat HaYovel,
Yakvul.
Jerusalem. Sorry. I promise I'm not trying to be offensive. I enjoy doing accents, even if I'm terrible at them. Sorry.
I really enjoy accents. Like me and one of my coworkers were talking about it yesterday, and for me, I don't have much of a North Carolina accent.
Make me choke on my cheer wine.
But I was training him, and I said, "Yeah, just mark down 10 minutes for cleaning." He said, "Say that again."
Is it the guy from Oregon?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But, I mean, he was born here.
Well, it's like,
So,
when I
like,
was talking that
He was born in Cherokee.
yeah.
So, like, he has a really strong accent too from here.
Mhm.
And it's like, it's not the normal mountain accent though. It's like more of the Eastern North Carolina accent.
He has a
and
Cherokee
South
accent.
Carolina.
He has a Cherokee accent. Cherokee,
It's
people-
totally different. Yeah.
the people on the reservation, like, they have this beautiful accent where it's like country, but you can still hear some of like the, I guess, accents of like their language come through.
Yeah.
So it's just like this beautiful like country accent that I'm just like,
It's
talk
real-
to me
Well,
all day, Indian man.
but it's like real close to the South Carolina accent. And his is real thick. And he said that people in Oregon were like, "Where are you from?" Like, cuz
I got shit for my accent when I lived in Georgia, and I
Right.
was like, y'all have no fucking room to talk.
No,
Okay?
Georgia accent.
Y'all are just as
Southern
country
accent.
as I am, so hush.
So I really enjoy accents, and like, because I don't really have much of one, but I enjoy the different ones.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy listening to them.
I just call it my ADHD superpower, and then like if I spend enough time with somebody, I can
You'll
pick up their
pick up
accent,
the accent,
like
yeah.
really quickly.
Same.
And like if I spend enough time, I can probably speak their accent better than they can. I call it my ADHD superpower, and I really should have went into acting. But
Yeah.
so he was born in Jerusalem around the age of 13, which is a big age, as I'm sure most of you know in the Jewish faith.
Isn't that like the bar mitzvah?
Yeah, he started studying the religious studies. He attended a Jewish school called a yeshiva in Jerusalem. And yes, the boys have bar mitzvahs at 13 and girls have bat mitzvahs at 13. And there's actually a lot of studying that goes into their part of their mitzvah because they have to read like passages out of the Torah and stuff.
Yeah.
There's like certain things that they have to memorize for it. It's a big deal.
Sure.
It's a real big deal. By 1988, Hilbrand had been involved in the Arachim movement for years. This movement called for secular Jews to take Jewish religious studies. This was also the year that he started his own yeshiva named Lev Tahor. It might be Tahor, but I'm going to say Tahor because I can't say Tahor with a straight face. How many ever times I'm going to have to say it. In 1990, citing his anti-Zionist views as the cause, and don't come at me. I have no opinion on what's going on in Israel right now. I understand that I'm talking about this at a time when Israel is very topical. I don't ask for my opinion. I don't have one. Okay, I'm just giving you all the facts of this guy and this cult. Just gonna throw that out there because I know there's gonna be that one person that's like, oh, you're talking about Israel, but you're not gonna talk about Israel. No, I'm not, because I don't know enough about what the fuck is going on to have an opinion about what's going on in Israel.
I don't either.
My only opinion is I want humans to stop killing humans. That's it.
For sure. I'm a peace-loving hippie, so
that's it. Yeah, so in 1990, citing his anti-Zionist views as the cause, Hilbrand moved Lev Tahor to Brooklyn. In 1994, Hilbrand got into legal trouble when it said he assisted, but he was, brain fart. He was accused by a woman of kidnapping and brainwashing her son. She was a secular Jew who had sent her son to his yeshiva in Brooklyn to study for his bar mitzvah, and he never came home. And she couldn't get him to come home, and no matter how much she tried, she couldn't get him, so she went to law enforcement.
Right.
Hilbrand's, of course, denied any involvement with this kid's disappearance, but he was initially arrested. And this is where people start kind of having major issues. Well, they have major issues, but here's another issue people start having is that the year that he was arrested was an election year. And allegedly the DA did not want to get any bad blood between him and the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community in New York. So he let him go. Yeah. 2 years later, though, after the FBI investigated him, he was again arrested. The young man that was allegedly kidnapped, his name was Shay. He testified in court that Hilbrand had nothing to do with him running away, but instead he was helping him get away from an abusive home, allegedly. Hilbrand was still found guilty and was sentenced to 4 to 12 years in prison. However, at a court appearance at an appeals court hearing in June of 1996, his sentence was reduced to 2 to 6 years. So they literally cut it in half.
Right.
For kidnapping.
Yeah.
Keep this in mind. We're talking about He literally kidnapped, allegedly, even though he was found guilty and charged, or he was charged and found guilty.
Right.
He allegedly kidnapped and brainwashed this boy to keep him in his cult, and he gets 4 to 12 years.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
People get more for having weed in their pocket. Like what? So it was reduced 2 to 6 years. 3 days later, after this appeals hearing, he was moved to a work release program. However, he was not able to stay at the work release program for long because once it got out that he was transferred, people started protesting. See, he was not a citizen, he was a permanent resident. And once he was convicted of a crime, he lost his permanent resident status. And when you lose your permanent resident status, you are no longer allowed to work within the United States. That includes, work release.
Right.
You have to legally be able to work in the United States to be able to work in a work release prison program.
Right.
So he was sent back to prison, and he ended up serving 2 years. 2 years. 2 years. I'm just like, 2 years? 2 years. What is going on? I don't know. I don't get these light ass sentences for something
for serious crimes.
As serious as kidnapping. Like, she sent him there to study for his bar mitzvah, for his birthday.
Right.
And he was brainwashed. Like, During media coverage of the case, accusations of child abuse and other crimes were reported, namely drug trafficking.
Huh.
Like, what?
Like what kind of drugs?
Drugs.
Like
drugs, not weed.
Cocaine.
Drugs. Yeah, they weren't piddling with weed. Drugs.
Huh.
Trafficking. This was a really high profile case within the US as well as Israel. Even more controversy, I can't spell, was created when Helbrand was able to keep his facial hair while in prison. He claimed religious reasonings. I guess back in 1994, 1996, whatever it was that he went to prison, you were supposed to be clean shaven so that they could have a picture of your face without any facial hair. And he was able to talk prison officials into taking a picture of him and then digitally removing his beard.
Huh. All right, then.
Yeah. Like, he did what now? And this was before AI.
Right.
So I'm like,
Photoshop.
I bet it wasn't great either.
No,
Could
probably
you
not.
imagine? Like, it would be one thing if it was like kind of AI and it was just like AI that like removed his beard and gave him like the rest of his face. I could definitely see that working out really well. But 1994 Photoshop?
Right.
Not gonna be great. All right. So yeah, he did that. Little some bitch. November of 1996, Helbrands was released from prison, causing an uproar about special treatment. Again, they're like, why is this guy getting out of prison? Why doesn't he have to shave his beard? Why wasn't he actually kept in prison the first time? He went on to open a yeshiva in Monsey, New York, until he was deported back to Israel, where he was set to face several charges in Israel as well. He wasn't going to do that. He ran away to Canada. He said, oh, Canada.
Save me, Canada.
I said, fair but stern what? In 2003.
Not an extradition.
In 2003, this son of a bitch gained refugee status in Canada on the grounds of religious and political persecution.
Well,
Boo fucking who. God dang.
I wonder if the nameless person that just got charged is going to run away to Canada.
Nameless person. Oh. No, because people want to fucking vote him for president.
It's crazy.
He can't fucking vote, but he can be fucking president. Make it make sense, y'all. Listen, we're international. I need the international listeners to get in on this and be like, yeah, we don't know what the fuck's going on either. Because I don't know. I live here and I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, seriously?
For sure.
Everybody's all excited. They're like, yay, he's guilty. Yay, he's guilty. Yay, he's guilty. And I'm like, he might get 4 years in prison.
Yeah.
So he'll just run in 2028.
Yeah.
Because he can still fucking run for president, even if he can't vote for it.
Yep.
Make it make sense. Anyways, not a lot is known about Hilbrand's family life, like his earlier family life. He was put into an arranged marriage. I said arranged marriage at first. It was probably a forced marriage on at least one of their behalfs.
Yeah.
To Malka Azula. They had at least 4 children together. I don't know a lot about one of their sons. I do know that they had 2 daughters and another son who would actually end up taking over. Malka would eventually leave after she endured severe retaliation for speaking out against child abuse within the community. Which I can only imagine that means they just beat the shit out of her.
Right.
Their eldest daughter, Sarah, had married Aaron, and it's not Aaron either. It's Aaron. Aaron. I'll say Aaron. Arya Teller, who was a extremely radical head of the yeshiva. She was able to eventually escape with their 2 daughters, but unfortunately that would not be the end of it with the sect for her. Miriam was their second daughter, who had a severe sesame allergy, like sesame seeds.
Yeah.
It is
no burgers
alleged that her brother,
oh, sorry guys.
Yeah, her brother Nachman, who is now the leader of Lev Tahor, forced her to eat sesame bread, which led to a severe allergic reaction, which led to her death.
Holy shit.
Yeah. He said she died because she didn't have enough faith in him.
Okay, that's just gross.
Yeah. Again, while they are quite small, they are one of the more extreme ones.
I'd say so. Killing kids with sesame.
Well, she was 24, but it's still a sister, you know.
Yeah.
I know in Israel and maybe other places, but do you know what they call Lev Tahor in Israel?
What?
The Jewish Taliban. Yeah, if that tells you anything.
Right.
Let's see. I gotta move some papers around here because my notes shift here. So in August of 2013, Quebec child service workers set out to investigate the living conditions at the cult. It started out as a complaint about students or children not receiving the education within the standards of whatever Quebec school board is, or what their equivalent is.
Yeah.
So they were looking into that. And then they were like, all right, well, allegedly they have all these kids and they're not really doing anything and there's not good living conditions. So, like, we need to go check this out.
Yeah.
They found dirty houses with urine-soaked mattresses that 4 or 5 kids would have to sleep on. Girls as young as 13 were locked in basements.
That's disturbing.
As well as being subjected to forced marriages to men, some as much as 20 years their senior.
Jeez.
One 17-year-old who was pregnant at the time claimed physical abuse by her brother, sexual abuse by her father, and a forced marriage at 15 to a 30-year-old.
God.
Yeah. In November, a Quebec court ruled for 14 of the children to be placed in foster care, and arrangements began to be made to find Yiddish-speaking foster homes, because this is another thing that they do with Lev Tahor is they don't let them speak any language but Yiddish.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're Jewish, there's not that many people that speak Yiddish.
No.
And I mean, that's still 16 million people when you're looking at 8 billion people on a planet. Like,
Right.
not a lot of people speak Yiddish.
Yeah.
However, in March of 2014, several members fled with several of the children to Guatemala. Go figure. 9 people were stopped in Trinidad and were returned back to Canada. 3 adults and 6 children made it to Guatemala, where they were allowed to stay for a short amount of time, but then they were also sent back. Excuse me. To Canada. And oh wait, y'all hang on, I gotta find my place again. Let's go back this way. Whee! What the hell is that? Aha. See, yeah, they came back. Legal battle. Y'all bear with me.
I was going to do Jeopardy, but I don't know if we get copyright for it.
I've done it before, but like, me, what are they going to do? You can't say that. Sorry. Shit happens. See, here's the problem though, is like, I found different stuff on different websites.
Mm-hmm.
And the years kind of bounce around within my notes.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make sure I kind of stay on track. That's why I like typing up my notes before I do this, so I can get it all in order. Sorry guys. This is the not cute side of podcasting.
The price is right. Come on down.
On July 7th, 2017, Hellbrand's body was fished from a river in the Mexican state of Chiapas. It looks like Chiapas. It was said that he was swept away while performing a sacred ritual in the river, but others believe that he took his own life, as the evidence of the abuses of the cult were coming to light and the noose of the law was tightening around his neck.
Right.
His successor, Nachman, is worse.
Yeah.
It's worse. He has forced the followers.
Is that like the sun?
Yeah. Yeah. He has forced the followers to adhere to a strict vegetarian diet. This is believed by one of the ex-members to be you need protein for your brain to make like reasonable, like good reasoning choices and good choices.
Sure.
Y'all, I can't talk. I'm sorry. I don't have enough protein in my brain.
Yep.
So he believes that like this was to keep them like from being like, hey, this isn't cool, we should leave.
Right.
He was also known to marry kids as young as 12.
Jeez.
Yeah. The community claims to follow halakha, which is, quote, the collective body of Jewish religious law that are derived from the written and oral Torah, end quote. Now, I'll admit that these practices aren't really new, and that's like one of their things, like their defenses, I guess, is they're like, well, this isn't anything new.
Right.
People have been practicing this stuff for years.
Thousands of years.
Well, okay.
Doesn't make it right.
You know, even orthodox sects they only pray half as long as you do. They don't make kids stand for hours and hours and hours praying. They let them eat meat as long as it's kosher. Gotta be kosher. It's just kosher. Women can dress how the fuck ever they want within reason, you know.
Right.
Gotta be a little modest, but
yeah,
it's intense. And Ontario Superior Court Judge Linda Templeton stated that the lifestyle of the members is not, quote, merely a matter of personal preference, but one of deep religious conviction shared by an organized group and intimately related to daily living. Religion is not simply a matter of theocratic belief, but pervades and determines their entire way of life, regulating it with detail through strictly enforced rules of the community. The adoption and practice of the Torah to the extent perceived by members of Lev Tahor as desirable or necessary in their daily lives include the type of clothing to be worn at all times, their food preparation and consumption, their language, their moral and social conduct, and their education. All members of Lev Tahor, regardless of age or gender, adhere to the practices and tenets of their faith-based belief, end quote. So yeah, it's not just, this isn't just like, that's what people don't get about cults. You know, if you have a religion, you know, say you're a Christian, you're a Baptist, like, yeah, it leads your life, but you're still making some decisions based on financial things, or because you have kids, or because of your spouse, or because of your job,
Your personality.
or because of your personality. You're like, you know, I know they said this in the Bible, but I don't really fucking care.
Right.
But with a cult, especially with a sect like Lev Tahor, is there's nothing else that you have to think about when you make a choice. There's nothing else for you to consider.
Yeah.
It's, does this go follow along the tenets of this particular faith that I'm in? Does this clothes go along with the tenets? Does this food follow along with the tenets? Does me talking to someone of the opposite gender go along with the tenets?
Right.
Like, they're not even allowed to like hug each other.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's absolutely insane.
That is crazy.
It makes me so mad.
Yeah.
In December of 2018, Nachman and Mayor Rosner were charged with kidnapping of 2 children. These are Sarah's kids. You remember Sarah, the eldest daughter? We talked about her a few minutes ago. She got out with her kids.
Maybe.
So she's Hildebrand's eldest daughter.
Mm.
She got out with her 2 kids. She had a son and a daughter. Her daughter was 12 or 13, and she was forcibly married to like a 19, 20-year-old man.
Yeah.
So Sarah got out, and she had moved to New York. And Nachman and this mayor guy kidnapped her kids and took them to Mexico City, where they sent her daughter back to her husband. Quote unquote husband.
Right.
She's fucking 14.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a fucking husband.
Got a dad Ben or something.
That gross. They were convicted in November of 2021 on, quote, charges of conspiracy to transport a minor with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity, conspiracy to travel with intent to engage in illicit sexual conduct, and international parental kidnapping, end quote.
Damn.
Would you care to guess how much time they served?
International kidnapping.
International parental kidnapping.
That's crazy.
Would you like to guess how much time he got?
2 years.
12.
Wow.
12.
I mean, at
Not
least
just
it's more
for
than
kidnapping,
regular kidnapping.
but like illicit sexual conduct.
Right.
Like, what? You're like kidnapping a minor to take her across lines to make her have sex with her quote unquote husband, who is really just an adult man.
It's like so much planning there.
I can't.
Should be charged like with a lot more than that.
So much more. So much more. In September of 2020, 2 members of the cult were arrested in Mexico on suspicions of human trafficking, and sexual offenses. So they had spent 2 years. The FBI had spent 2 years investigating this guy, getting this case built up to go in and arrest him.
Yeah.
There were about 20 other members there as well when they arrested these guys. And while they were not arrested, They were detained by police at a facility in Mexico. During the 5 days they lived there, they had been rioting and assaulting the personnel.
Well,
Like, come on now. Y'all chill. In a video obtained by Reuters, I don't know how to say that. It's Reuters. I think it's Reuters.
Raiders.
I don't know.
I don't know.
The detainees were seen rushing the gate as 2 guards tried to stop them. One of the guards was knocked down, and the video shows cult members climbing over him, and then one young guy stopped and kicked him. And as of this article that was written in September 2020, I don't know where they're at.
So they escaped?
In the jungles of Mexico.
Well.
Yeah, they escaped. As for the 2 men who were arrested, they were released due to quote unquote lack of evidence. The thing about it is, though, is while these guys were not actually charged and convicted with anything, the success was actually, or the raid was actually a success. The whole point of the raid was to retrieve Yisrael Amir's 3-year-old son, who he had to leave when he had fled from the compound 2 years earlier. He had actually been forced to marry a girl when he was 16. They were both 16. And then she got pregnant, and then they had a baby. And then he had been going out into town, like printing off stuff for the cult, printing off pamphlets and shit. And he got access to the internet, and then he started like reading up on Lev Tahor. And then he found out that his aunt was still alive and she was still fighting for him to get him out of the cult. So he was able to contact her. Now, keep in mind, this shit is going on for like weeks. He's still living in the cult. He's like, every couple weeks or a week or so, they'll send him out to print stuff off. That's when he gets on the internet. He'll send her emails and stuff. One night, he just leaves. She's like, you got to go. Go. Like, you got to go. So he just leaves. And then he finally gets to her. She takes him to the FBI or someone that can help him get his son.
Sure.
So for 2 years, they are investigating these people and like doing all this. They raid it, try and get him out. They were able to get his son out. His wife did not want to leave. He also had a sister that was there, but I don't know whatever happened to her.
Yeah.
It's real fucked up. His sister was 13 and she was married to a 19-year-old. And they said that on her wedding day, she cried so much that she was punished by not being allowed to speak for a year.
Jesus.
And then she developed a stutter.
Man.
So that's great. It's not great. He also claimed while he was there, he had like grown up there as a kid. The kids were beaten and then they were forced to thank their abusers for their abuse.
What the hell?
He also claims that when he was there, he saw Hilbrand and another of the leaders taking boys as young as 8 into their rooms. And then when they were left, they were sent to a mikveh or a ritual purification bath. Yeah. So.
Yeah, fuck these guys.
Yeah. It's not great. I don't know how bad Nachman is with like the young boy stuff, but he's not any better with anything else. So like,
no.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
A lot of the victims do not want to speak out about it, which like I don't really blame them because like they dealt with some trauma.
Yeah. Some sexual trauma.
Just trauma in general. Lev Tahor Survivors, a U.S.-based support group, claims to have members who were victims of child sexual abuse. Central American authorities also allegedly have sworn statements from victims. Now, here's another crazy thing. When families would come join, you know, a lot of families would like come in and think, oh, we're going to go live in this beautiful compound, going to have our own food, we're going to read the Torah, you're going to get to go to like homeschooled education. No, they were brought in, families were separated, the children were given to other families, and they were allowed no contact with their parents.
Nope. Just nope.
Yeah, no. And he said that like the kids were forced into a room where they slept on the floor, they weren't given food or water, and then they were forced to either pray all day or listen to lectures from the rabbi.
Man,
So
sounds horrible.
the only quote unquote education the kids received was the teachings of Hellbrands.
Well,
No Talmud, no Torah, absolutely nothing outside of what he wanted them to know.
his book.
His book. No meat,
Hmm.
no beans. They got vegetables. Couldn't eat mangoes. Not really sure why they couldn't eat mangoes. Must have a lot of protein, I guess.
Huh.
So, as far as I know, I guess dude's still in jail. Nachman
Yeah.
and Meyer. I don't really know who's quote unquote running it right now.
How do you spell that?
N-A-C-H.
Hold on. All right. N-A-C-H.
M-A-N.
And then last name?
Shit, I don't know. H-E-L-B-R-A-N.
Hellbrand.
Yeah.
Hellbrands. Shlomo Hellbrands.
Shlomo.
Yep, he looks Jewish.
He said, yep, he looks Jewish. Does he have the ear curls? The earlocks?
Yeah.
I actually found out they're called earlocks.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But I was like, oh, that's cute. I like their earlocks. I think they're cute. But yeah, I don't know who's running it. As of now, Lev Tahor is still operational.
I want to say I've seen something about this somewhere.
Maybe.
I'm not sure where, though.
But as far as we know, it's still operational. Like I said, there are 2 to in 6 or 7 countries, allegedly.
Yeah.
I say a lot of allegedly, but it's a cult. They've done some really shitty stuff. And like I said at the beginning, this one little group does not in any way represent 16 million Jews that live across this globe.
Right.
Not even a little bit. Like I said, every Jewish person I've ever met has always been pretty nice. Some of them can be assholes, but so can everybody. So
Lev Tahor came up when I Googled him, and then like there's all these pictures of him, and then there's the old white guy from what's that one called? He's like staring at you like this.
oh, Marshall Applewhite from Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate. There's one picture of it, just him, and I'm like, what's he got to do with that? I guess it's a cult.
Well, there was one in the investigation. They allegedly found documentation where they had sent messages telling them that if authorities came to take their children, mothers were instructed to kill them.
Jeez.
So
it's horrible.
I don't know. I don't get cults. I'm so tired of cults. I
Yeah.
don't know why there's so many cults. Why do I have to cover cults? Why am I covering cults?
I don't know.
God, they make me so mad. Like I get disgusted with them.
Yeah, they're very disgusting.
Like, and it's the ones which they all do to some extent, but it's the ones that like lean heavily on like Christian faiths.
I watched a video of a YouTuber guy. He went into like some cult and was like trying to like rescue people and like take down the cult. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty entertaining.
It
Like,
just makes me so mad. I'm like, you're giving like the
You go
whole
in
damn religion a bad name. And like, admittedly, like Christianity gives itself a bad name by itself. It doesn't need any help.
he'd like go
But-
in and act like he was a new member, and then like
Mhm.
he'd be wearing a wire, and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm wearing a wire," and then he'd just run.
What the hell? All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that little tidbit. If not, I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you. All right, guys. If you would like, you can head on over to our merch shop at theparanormallovers.threadless.com and get you in on some merch. We should have another sale coming up in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. If you would like to support the podcast, head on over to patreon.com/theparanormallovers, where you get early access to these videos as well as an extra show once a week.
Yeah, our true crime.
So lucky, called The Deadly Lovers. Stabby, stabby, shot, shot. We're going to go talk about a Jewish murder over there if y'all want to come hear about that. So I'm telling you, I try to like correlate all my stories with stuff.
Yeah.
If you would like,
We
you can
try.
follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok by searching for The Paranormal Lovers, and YouTube as well if you want to see these videos. If you would like to send us an email with a personal story, whether it be true crime or paranormal, topic request, or just to say, hey, your podcast sucks, send us an email at theparanormallovers@yahoo.com. Thanks for joining us this week, guys, and we will see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.